Okay. Okay.
Howdy.
Hello. Alright.
Huh. Game's Done Quicker is doing Clock Tower 3. Neat.
Yeah, they tend to know what they're doing.
That's a weird game.
Yeah, got all that horror and psychological weirdness.
No. Clock Tower 3 in general is weird because it's the one with the magical girl transformation.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. That's... Yeah. Though there was that time with Clock Tower 2 where the Scissor Man sends the main character a fax that says, "I'm coming for you." Yeah, evil fax machine. Not exactly the pinnacle of terrifying.
Hi.
Hey, Konkon. Going back into the curb.
And Sinop?
Are you moving around a lot because your mic is picking up some, doing like that when you move around thing?
I'm lying in a bed.
So, I don't think I've done Electric Spike yet. And it is interesting. Just turn yourself into a lightning rod.
I mean, makes sense.
I mean, if it's spike electricity, so...
I do like the design of the plug enemy. Especially because it's an American plug. Not one of them weird UK ones.
I mean, places all over the world have weird, different things compared to ours.
I know, right? I'm not trying to be jingoistic or anything, but it is always surreal to see something that is so normal in your day-to-day, and then you go to another place and it's like, what?
And unfortunately, we don't have an Aussie at the moment, but as I recall, their plug is kind of like the American one, except it's like the prongs are tilted slightly.
Why?
Because... Maybe I'll do fire. One thing I found interesting to find out when looking into this game at one point was finding out the fascinating thing that the the layout for this level, the first level of the last world, is the same as the first level of level 1.
Huh, how about that?
Yeah. Like, the enemies are
right,
different.
No, I remember. Yeah, because there's the bomb guy, the fire guy, and then there's, like, that bombable location.
So now it requires extra. At least I think it's what it needs. Or is that? Or is that? Okay, maybe that's the spike bomb.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, spike bomb is shuriken, isn't it?
No, that's cutter bomb. Spike bomb is
Right,
basically turning into a Gordo that explodes.
As you do.
Mm-hmm. Although it's... Is there a spike dude in this section?
Well, lately I've been playing through Knights of the Old Republic. Yeah, it still holds up after all these years.
Yeah, I got that since that was on sale. Figure I might give that a
Steam
try at some point. Switch.
Yeah, I recommend waiting if you got the second game that they're gonna put out the extended stuff as like DLC. I think they're gonna do it as like a free DLC thing.
Maybe. For now, I just got the first game. Just because I'm not entirely sure if I'll like it.
If I'm being honest, the first one is okay. But that's just because with the second one, it's hard to go back. It's like trying to play Disgaea 1 after playing Disgaea 2. Yeah, it's good, but the mechanics have been so improved. You know, it's hard to go back. So going in order in your case is a good idea.
Also, hot dang, the music they used for this level.
Oi! Get into the hole! Okay.
It's definitely spooky.
Yeah. Which is real nice, because it's like... I think the spookiest we had gotten before this point was the stuff for the factory level. And even then, it kind of felt like, okay, yeah, things are still okay, but, you know...
That was more of implied spoopiness.
Yeah, this is like, yeah, full on, you are going into the horrible stuff.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because, you know, we're at the place where, you know, dark matter is taken over.
But yeah, I think you'll enjoy Knights of the Old Republic. It's a good enough RPG and... go good, go evil, go whatever.
I like the idea of playing the whatever side of the Force.
Although personally, I tend to go Force user. Okay, I tend to make my build as I use a ton of skills, so I tend to either go the Rogue class or the Jedi Sentinel, which gives you a lot of skill points. So I can solve a lot of problems. And then my main strategy is throw Force Lightning on everything. Good, evil,
It's like
Force Lightning.
I don't think I've played that one. Just
Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic uses the D20 system, so it's basically Star Wars D&D, 3rd edition.
oh no.
No, it's good. This was made when the D20 system was a big deal.
I mean, it still kinda is, isn't it?
No, the D20 system is kind of like the standard now, with with D&D 3rd edition, there was the D20 system that was open source. Anybody can use it if you pay a licensing fee. That's how you got the crazy stuff like the Cthulhu D20, the Babylon 5 D20, the goddamn Bible D20.
Hold up. When you say they had to pay for the license, what assets were they exactly paying for? Because I'm assuming they weren't paying for the right to use a D20, were they?
It was basically the right to use the main D20 mechanics. You know, strength, dexterity, D20, skills.
Basically,
Wait,
if you wanted to
seriously?
do a riff on D&D 3rd edition.
Pay for that shit? Freaking hell.
Legally sell your game if it uses those kind of mechanics.
Okay.
Though, if we're being honest, not every game needed the D20 system. Like the wrestling D20.
You know, if I had just heard that without the prior knowledge of how many D&D clones are there, I would have found it hard to believe, but yeah, I suppose
And you gotta remember,
this was actually like that.
you gotta remember, it wouldn't just be D&D clones. It's anyone who would say want to make a splat book.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like how with Paizo, that was basically how they got their start before they did Pathfinder, was doing 3.5 stuff. And it's kind of why they did Pathfinder eventually.
And that's also why the Pathfinder is open source, technically. Because it uses the open source D20. They legally cannot hide the Pathfinder mechanics from the public. They can hide, the stuff that they made, like, say, Adventure Path, and other, modular books. But the mechanics themselves, they can't hide. So I am glad with Nephis they still continue to have the, hey, here's how to play the game. Here's where all the stuff is. All you have to do is just pay for the book, for the adventure paths and other important stuff. Basically D&D Shareware Edition.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
When I was...
Mm-hmm. It's simple enough to understand. The game is pretty easy if you're just in it for the story.
Mm.
Unfortunately, Knights of the Republic 2, while it is technically the better of the games, it was unfinished. It got Christmas rush. So the ending half of the game, pretty rushed. The good news is that with mods, the stuff that got cut out got put back in, including an entire mechanical planet, as in the planet of robots.
Good on him.
It still doesn't change the fact that, in the end, you basically become a demigod.
Bren, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but in the event that I actually get around to playing KOTOR 2, I would like to go in with as few expectations as possible.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Though, word of advice, don't play Pazak. The game cheats.
I have no idea what that means.
Pazak is the game's equivalent of 24, or 21. where you're trying to get, you draw cards, trying to get to 20 or closer to it, and you have a deck, you get a, the only difference is you get a side deck of 4 cards that either add or subtract numbers. The problem is, the game cheats. It lets you go first, and it just happens to get the cards that usually they need. To the point where in the second game, they even lampshade it. If a character refuses to play with droid because of that. So yeah, if you want to make money, don't do the bazaar. Huh. Is that an evil 20-sided die?
Really?
What's an evil 20-sided die? Rolling your doom.
So Bren, you are basically the prologue exposition manager before Alway faces the D&D itself as a boss.
What?
So I don't feel like repeating. I feel the moment is lost.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Star Wars was one of the first ones with the D6 system. Sorry, what?
I said no.
Yeah. Yeah, it was actually one of the first ones, including the Ghostbusters tabletop system. Yeah, there was a Ghostbusters tabletop RPG, which, let's be honest, is pretty awesome.
I know there was like a period of time in like 80s, a little bit of 90s, where it seemed like every single thing got a role-playing system.
That definitely triggered with the boon of the D20 system and open source licensing, because it was a lot easier to buy the license and then sort of graft the license to it than make up your own game. But I'm talking about the West End Games Star Wars role-playing game, where it was using the D6 system. What's interesting is that a lot of the stuff that went into the game lore-wise would later be used as the source book. Yeah, basically, Lucasfilm considered the West End Games Star Wars book so authoritative that Timothy Zahn, when he was hired to write the Thrawn trilogy, he was basically just sent in a box of West End game source book materials and basically told, yeah, there's your lore Bible.
Yeah, it'll make sense to use all that stuff that's been thought up.
Yeah, but it's just funny how a lot of the stuff came out like that. But yeah, it uses the D6 system where, you know, you would get attributes based on, like, okay, you're a Wookiee. You would have 5 strengths, so if you roll a strength test, like something like, say, you know, I want to punch through the wall, you would roll 5d6, and then that's how you would do your thing. As opposed to, say, a wimpy human like me, who would probably at best have 2d6. trying to basically be easy enough to pick up and bait kind of deal.
Question: this abstract of a boss, what is it exactly?
I have no idea. What?
It's
Kirby is known to have weird bosses like that.
I'm not sure it's ever fully explained. I know that it's in its enemy bio. It's called Miracle Matter. Whatever it is, it's connected into the invasion by the dark matter things, which are not a fun time.
Let's check the wiki, because this ought to be good for more.
Also, you know, as a very much a console layman, for some reason, when I heard you playing Kirby 64, I thought that it's supposed to be like a 3D game, like Mario.
I mean, it is technically.
Yeah, it was one of those examples of like the quote-unquote 2.5D, in that like they use 3D assets, but the gameplay is, you know, as you see on a 2D plane. There were
For Kirby, it would be weird to have it be true 3D, right?
Yeah. Like, they tried to make it work. They kind of experimented around with it. They eventually did a racing game that kind of came from that. And it's really only recently that they gave a serious try at a 3D Kirby with Forgotten Land that, you know, was in the last few months.
Yeah.
And here we are. Our heroes go away on their ship. It's a happy ending. Or is it?
Well,
Wait, that was the end of the game?
People needs us.
Okay, so Kirby 64, like many other Kirby games, has the sense of is it easy and quick to beat? Yes. If you go for the bare minimum and just go for the okay, we went through all the worlds, that's it. To get 100, like to get the true ending, to get 100% in this game, you have to collect all of the crystal shards that are throughout the levels in the game, which involve like exploring around and, you know, using the right combo of abilities in certain areas.
Yeah. Kirby games are meant for all types of gamers. Either the one who just wants to enjoy a game, and the one who wants the challenge. It appeals to both sides. Yeah, Kirby is like one of those universally liked games. Because it never tries to set out to be anything but, well, a charming little platformer, right?
Except for those hot moments where it dips down into cosmic horror.
Well, that's to be expected, right?
Yeah. And that's kind of a...
Kirby about the cosmic horror is like Mario without the scared Luigi.
It's kind of one of those things that's tied into the whole aspect of like, okay, you can go for the hard thing if you really want to. It's a thing where it's like, yeah, it's just kind of, for the most part, a chill, cool series, but it's like, okay, clearly you're skilled and intelligent enough to get through all the hard stuff. We're gonna hit you with the hard stuff.
We're gonna scare the hell out of that one kid who spent an entire weekend 100%ing it. We're gonna give him nightmares.
And also, wow, just thinking...
I reckon I would...
Go ahead.
Just saying, you know, I like the concept of Kirby as a game. I think I would have liked it more if I was more fond of the character design. Like, Kirby really doesn't stick with me.
I have heard a few people say that is kind of an issue with why they don't try the game. Just because they find the pink puffball character design to just not be very impressive. Which I can kind of understand. Like, It's something how, like, I know there's some people who just won't try Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker because of the cartoony art style, and it's like, okay, I think you're missing out on something, but it's like, sometimes there's just some things that don't really hit you. And that's how it is.
Yeah. Like, I'm not really fond of slimes and related stuff in general. It's not really something against Kirby specifically.
I wouldn't say he's a slime.
But as said, as related,
Yeah,
he
in that realm of,
kind
like,
of
very
fits
simple.
in that more like, you know, he's like a ball of goop.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Alright. And gonna look up Crystal Shards locations to get a start on that 100% completion. Though I will say, just as a note, I think it kind of all, like, the planet designs, I feel like almost tie into that Kirby funkiness all the same, because it's like, okay, in terms of, like, what kinds of things we got, it's like, alright, we have one planet that's a giant yellow star with some rings around it. We got
Cute.
a rocky, kind of deserty kind of planet full of craters that looks like it's been blown apart but is still being held together somehow.
Yeah, that definitely raises a few eyebrows.
Mm-hmm. We got kind of a oddly regular looking shape within a water drop.
Yeah, that raises a lot of questions, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you know what the rock look reminds me of? It reminds me of like one of those wave breakers in Japan.
One of those what?
Wave breakers. They're usually put on the edge of shore to basically break up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know what you
Doesn't
mean.
that what? Yeah.
And I reckon as a planet, it actually makes some sense if you consider if it could be just, you know, an atmosphere very high in water, which is just pulled towards that earthy thing with gravity.
Oh. I don't know. I would not
Bouncing
know what would
aside.
happen if like an entire huge drop of water was in space. I don't know what that would do to it. Did I skip to the Kool-Aid Man?
That is beyond the scope of this stream. And anyway, like...
Nah, I was just thinking of the time Kool-Aid Man went into space to fight the Thirsties.
Neostar here is probably the most, or at least one of the most normal-looking planets. Without, it's like, yeah, it's like a big jungle volcano planet.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have straight-up post-apocalyptic Earth. Caught in some kind of ice age. And then we have the heart-shaped fairyland covered in darkness.
Okay.
Let's see, what do we got? Alright. So, of course, first one. Okay, oh yeah, now I remember. This one needs a double cutter to get the shard that I missed on this one. I'll get a bomb now, just for defense. Double Cutter. Which makes me split off a portion of myself into a crescent-shaped saw? Like, I know we had a thing about how, yeah, Kirby's not a slime, but you know what? That's something I could see a slime doing. Just lop off a portion of itself.
Mm-hmm. You know, I wish they had fiddled a little more with that kinda, you take stuff from enemies and use it against them in Mega Man Zero series, because they only did that in the very last installment, and it felt like they didn't have the time to refine it.
Yeah, like, I enjoyed it for what it was, but, yeah. It'd be cool if they did something like that again.
Because by the time the fourth part of the series appeared, people were already used to the whole sword and gun style of playing Mega Man per usual, that it felt like a change from just, oh, I have a spear that makes me have a slightly longer attack than a sword, I guess, to you have new mechanics spanning the entire series, have fun with that. By the way, most of the stuff that you can grab from enemies is shit compared to what you usually have, so have fun!
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things that makes me wish that, Zero 4, at least I was originally intended, was what it was originally thought for, which was to make it, I guess the term would be a mid-pull. Something that was planned to be between Zero 1 and 2, where it was about Zero on his own in the wasteland trying to make by. Where it's like, okay, he's having... Yeah, because like, oh, because that's like, oh, then there's the whole thing of, oh, he's out on his own, having to, like, oh, he's gotta rip stuff off of his enemies because that's really the only way he can, you know, get stuff done.
Yeah, I dig that. Honestly, if I ever do like a Zero Knuckle playthrough only, maybe I'll do it in this kind of a groove. Kind of play pretend.
Yeah. There you are. And then gonna need a sparkling stone eventually.
Got the thing. Yeah.
Break this cactus. Which, now that I think about it, is curiously cross-shaped while it's bouncing.
Any of you ever play the Mega Man Battle Network games?
Briefly, the fourth.
Go ahead, I'll answer.
This away? I briefly played Mega Man Battle Network 4,
Oh, you
and that
poor
was about it.
You poor bastard. That was the worst.
I
Yeah, I heard people say that. I enjoyed it nonetheless. Yes, all please say now.
so
No.
I've done the first and second. I played it all the way through. Played a little bit of the GameCube game. I remember renting the Battle Chip Challenge game and realizing how much of a waste of time that was very quickly.
Oh my god, yeah, it was.
And then I remember I rented 3 and 4 briefly. And I think 3 was okay. I just never got around to actually like buying it. And then I remember playing a bit of 4 and just like realizing, oh, it's nothing but tournament arc.
I know, right? And you know, it wouldn't even be that bad of a game if the tournament wasn't a complete waste of time. Like, the plot was so stupid. I wouldn't even hate the tournament if that was just the game. But no, they had to shoe in a, oh, by the way, a goddamn meteor is coming down to crush you. Plot. With, and that translation with 4. Oh,
Oh, I knew it. We started shit-talking tournament arcs and Argle appears.
I'm literally in a tournament arc today. So
Yes?
basically, in Strength of Thousands, there's the Star Day tournament where it's like one of the teachers is like, oh yes, you know, we've got this tournament that your cohort is invited to. Now, Fox's character, he's playing a Leshy. We found out that our opponents were Leshies, and they had wooden mechs. Basically, they built themselves power suits out of wood.
what kind of Leshy is Fox?
He's a tree Leshy.
Huh. So we got goddamn Treebeard on your team. Cool.
Not really, no. He's a kid.
Okay, so you got Tree Stubble on your team.
His name is Sun-Soaked Sapling. And no, he's not an ant. He's a Leshy. There's a difference.
Nevertheless, I like that.
That name
But yeah,
It really does.
But yeah, basically, when we found out the Leshies, like these Leshies kind of work for the school, and they're like, "You're joining us!" So he basically joined them to fight against us, and he one-shot Melina twice. Basically, she got crit. He worked with them. He's like, okay, so the number 1 target, our top priority, the one you should take out first, the one in the pink dress, she's a fire dragon.
Yeah, that seems like a really stupid thing to do.
What? Take out the
Yeah.
fire-breathing opponent that can destroy your mech?
No, I
It
mean,
seems...
you'll fight with a person who could do that. Seems like a really bad idea.
What were you gonna say, Conrad?
No, just something that doesn't really make much, like, as in just, you know, it felt like acknowledgement, as in that makes a lot of sense, like, they're wood, she breathes fire.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and in the very first round, basically the very first move, Fox walked up to Melina in his bloody freaking large mech and got a crit and did exactly her HP and damage.
Nice.
Is character of mine's a rogue as to be able to one-shot stuff like that?
So, in Pathfinder 2e, especially at early levels, you aren't working with much HP. Like,
I think
Melina,
that's an issue with Pathfinder in general.
it's
I understand
even-
the issue.
that's almost every game, really. But yeah, Melina has a max of 22 HP.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the mech normally does like a 2d6. Where I think it's like a 2d6 plus 5?
If anything, it's rather surprising to hear that you've been getting mechs who do increase damage like that and at said early levels.
Yeah, no. Again, one of the benefits of 2e, because of how well they've handled the map of the game, it allows them to create more mechanically interesting fights throughout, from level 1 up to level 20.
So,
How does that work?
so it even allows male martial-oriented characters to feel important.
Yeah.
'Cause let's
That
be
is the
honest,
exact opposite feeling I got from when reading that game, but
Because you just read it. But yeah.
Mm,
And
I
hi,
think it's probably best that I don't start arguing today.
Yeah, no.
hi to Fryman in the chat, and congrats on beating Paper Mario for the first time.
That's a game you need to play.
Yeah, like, God of all the... I have so many freaking games I need to play, but, like, okay. I figure I will probably play that on this stream at some point. Though I figure I will probably do that after playing Super Mario RPG.
Yeah.
No, that's one I mean.
Go through. Yep.
Which would mean hopefully I can at some point also do Thousand Year Door.
Oh man. I have, with any luck, by the time you get to Thousand Year Door, Nintendo might have done the smart thing and been like, hey, Thousand Year Door on the Virtual Console.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, look, as much as I want Skies of Arcadia, more people need to play Thousand Year Door. That is a game that needs to be preserved. That and Kirby Air Ride, because that's just fun.
I'm actually surprised. It's like, this is one of those things when it comes to Nintendo that I just don't get. Like, there are some things, it's like, why haven't they, like, either done, like, a remake of this, or even just a remaster? And then there are other times, like, please, Nintendo, stop just reselling us Super Mario. You've, like, how many times do you have to put Super Mario on sale on a
Yeah.
different console?
It's like, it's one of those things where it's definitely nice having things playable, but then it's like, why can't just everything be playable and not just these select things? Because like part of it is availability, because there's like, from it says, I can't believe I never did it until now. I would blame some of that on availability, because it's like, I mean, okay, I know Paper Mario has been on like Virtual Console, but like, I would also say it's a matter of we haven't always had like N64 games be that easily accessed. And of course there's also the issue of like, Paper Mario, in terms of its traditional structure, hasn't really been a thing for a while.
Yeah, Paper Mario has been going downhill since Sticker Star.
Yeah. And it's like they tried to fix it with Origami King, but then it's like it's kind of like 2 steps forward or 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Either one kind of works, where it's just like, yeah, we've now actually like got, you know, we're introducing a new villain and this new sort of thing, but it's like, is it going to be in a different kingdom other than Mushroom Kingdom? No. Okay. Are the Toads actually going to have personality, or are they all just going to be the exact same? They're all going to be the exact same. Okay. Interesting characters? You can fight a fan. No, actually, that wasn't a fan. It was like a pencil tin or whatever. Yeah.
Which is one of those things where it's like the whole like the idea for Origami King of, oh, the bosses are various like craft supplies. It's like, okay, it's interesting. Not quite hitting the mark, but I mean it's interesting. Like maybe if that was like a side thing, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I think back to some of the best Paper Mario moments, whenever I think of Paper Mario, I think of the Toads with all their punny names.
Yeah, like Zesty.
Tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, same with the Koopas. And also the fact that Paper Mario was one of the first, well, I don't remember if RPG also did, but I know Paper Mario was my first introduction to the whole, okay, Bowser's trips are not all evil.
Yeah.
Chillin'.
Yeah. And it's like, with the comment, the writing has been lacking since Super, like, I know that's something I've heard a lot of people remark on, and I think that's kind of part of the issue of how it's like, you really get the feeling that for a lot of Nintendo stuff, like, especially, post GameCube, they've really emphasized the idea of the gameplay over story.
Yeah.
Which
but
is
the
like...
problem is with the new Paper Marios, the gameplay is super lacking, which just emphasizes the bad story.
Yeah. And it's things where it's like, I think I remember hearing that for Super Mario Galaxy, there had to be a bit of a struggle to include any of the story elements that they did, like with hints at Rosalina's backstory and all that.
Wow.
And it's one of those things that has to be going like, okay, I understand wanting to emphasize the gameplay and making sure you get that super polished and good, and, you know, making sure that, you know, the game is fun first and foremost. But it feels like at times they overcorrect in that sense. Because it's like, there's nothing wrong with having, you know, a bit of, you know, story that is not directly tied to gameplay or whatever.
And, okay, I will say, Super did have some pretty good writing. It probably was not as up there as Thousand Year Door, but it still has some really great moments. Of course, like frickin', I think the one that most people know of is Peach versus the Nerd.
That, I was gonna mention that as like one of my most memorable moments, that goddamn that visual novel dating scene, where if you play along and give the nerd what he wants, she goes, "Who's writing this?" She just calls you out. That was another thing. Peach was actually proactive.
Yeah.
Okay, granted, she did keep getting captured, but she was doing a good enough job in her situation to help.
Like, that was something I liked with the interludes in Paper Mario as well, where, you know, you have those spots where it's like, yeah, here's Peach, and she's trying to do some good while she's captured.
Yep.
Yeah, and let's be honest, how was she gonna get out? The goddamn castle was floating in the air.
Yeah, they make her capture actually kind of plausible. Like the first one, it's just like, yep, she wasn't kidnapped. Her entire castle was just lifted up into the sky. What's she gonna do? Jump out?
And I mean, hell,
I mean, that's
really
what she
going
has
to
the umbrella for, right?
No,
Yeah, true.
here's the other thing that they didn't touch, but I could totally see being a reason why she wouldn't do it. She ain't the only one being held hostage.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, obviously it didn't go into that detail, but if you wanted to remake the game and give another reason, not only are they in the air, but, he's got hostages. Now, I'm pretty sure Bowser is not the kind of guy who would kill a hostage, but, he influence of great magical power. Who knows what he was gonna do?
And then you have in Thousand Year Door, it's like, okay, yeah, she was kidnapped straight off the street, but like, it was an army?
Not only that, an alien army? She was in space! Yeah, I don't think she's gonna be able to float down from that. I mean, hell, she had to do experimental technology that made her go strip naked while invisible.
Actually, to be fair, it's not just an alien army, it's an alien cult.
Oh my god, you're right. It was a goddamn cult. Yeah, I remember. Paper Mario had some of the weirdest writing in all the good way. Oh, speaking of tournament arc, hey, remember that wrestling ring?
Yep. The
was
glitter.
awesome.
What is it? The glitter dome.
Yeah, with Rock Sock.
Yeah, like, God.
The murder
Question.
mystery on the train.
Yeah, go ahead, Conrad.
Oh, it just kind of struck me now. How much Pokemon anime have you watched?
I have watched very little of the anime, actually. Because I remember seeing a few episodes when it came out, like, I saw a little bit of the Johto series when it came out, only a few episodes of that. I saw the first, second, and third movie. Seen bits of the other ones through, like, clips, but otherwise, yeah, I did not really watch it that seriously.
Because that really answers my question. Because it suddenly struck me now with all of your passion against tournament arcs. Like, how did you enjoy Pokemon anime if you were so against Pokemon arcs? If, you know, the anime is, you know, both in the bigger picture as this gathering of the badges, and at the very end of it, like, you know, those league fights. Yeah,
I
it's
don't
kind of.
think Argle hates tournament arcs.
You mean Andrew?
And
Oh wait.
Yes.
wow. Do you hate tournament arcs?
What?
Do you hate tournament arcs? Because I think he's under the impression you hate them, Andrew.
I do not, I, as a general rule, am not fond of tournament arcs.
Yeah,
Like, I know
sure.
they can be done right, but it's like, as a general rule, I find them to be not interesting way of doing things.
They
Let me put it this way, Bren. Just one thing, Argo. I think one of the anime suggestions we've had on Sunday was one that had a tournament arc as part of the synopsis, and I remember always vetoing that straight from the get-go.
Which anime was it? Was it that one with all
I
the...
don't remember. I remember such a thing happened, but it was one of those propositions that, you know, just got axed early on. I don't think it was mine.
No, I'm just thinking, the only one I could think of that's, like, recent was that one with all the mythical deities fighting.
This isn't recent stuff, this is just... Yeah.
Though, okay, look, if I'm gonna be honest, I love and hate tournament arcs because, on one hand, tournament arcs are a way to get basically get a bunch of fights all in one place and, you know, show off cool third-party characters or the villain stuff. The problem is, most of the time they're a plot cul-de-sac. They're not really gonna move the plot along until, like, what? The
Okay.
second to last fight?
So, let me explain why tournament arcs are so good. So, I recently made this discovery about myself when talking about One Piece and how, like, some of the most hype One Piece fights I didn't care about too much. It's because it turns out I don't really care about the action in a fight. I care about the story behind the fight. If it is just a straight up, you know, one-on-one competition where both sides don't really have any story together, I don't care. Tournament arcs are great because it's usually the culmination of those stories, or even the beginning of long stories. It's usually when the hero and the rival are first facing off.
Now see, that is for me the exact reason that I find I don't like tournament arcs. I guess it's kind of the opposite of. So often it's a case of, okay, no build-up, no explanation or whatever. We're just gonna have these two people fight without context.
For the record, I am personally neutral towards this trope.
I don't think I've seen a tournament arc where that ever happens. There's always usually build-up.
I mean, I remember knowing for plenty of, like, in frickin' the one in Yu Yu Hakusho, there's, like, ones where it's like, okay, here's just random demon.
Okay, that was... Yeah, you know what? I gotta give him that, but if I'm being honest, if there is one thing that kind of feels to a tournament arc, it's almost like wrestling in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, I kind of get that, but it's like, for me, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, there can be a situation where it works out, but it gets so overused, and it feels like such a lazy way at times to introduce characters when it's like, oh, instead of thinking of a interesting, say, life or death scenario or whatever, where we have these characters coming together and fighting, it's like, yeah, just get them in there and slap them together like a bunch of action figures.
You know what? You know what? We can agree to disagree. And you know what?
Like,
Nah.
yeah, no. So let's take some of the best. No, let's take Naruto as an example.
Naruto is a bad anime.
You shut the
But
fuck up.
please continue.
Oh, okay. Naruto is not a bad anime, but it has way too much filler arc. We
Yeah,
can all agree on that.
Exactly. So yeah, Lee versus Gaara.
Oh man, that was.
Oh, that was when the show was still good. I mean, okay.
Yeah, okay, I
up to
said.
halfway
Look,
point
Conrad,
of anime.
Conrad. Just.
Yes?
I already told you to shut the fuck up, so.
Although the
Hey, I
finance
said
does
something
have a good
nice for a
point.
change, didn't I? Or can I not give compliments?
It's not really saying something nice. And you're like, oh yeah, when it was good. But never mind. So yeah.
So, to interrupt, but Fireman does bring up a good point about the Yu Yu Hakusho tournament arc. It is one of the few that had the balls to let the protagonist lose.
Yeah.
And yeah, right. Yeah, Yusuke lost in the second tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of nice to see every once in a while that the protagonist's victory is not preordained.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Lee versus Gara. They give you you get introduced to Lee, and then you know, throughout the first the time that you spend with him in the first part of that arc in general, you learn that he is someone that
Goofy guy.
yeah, he's all about the effort. He's like, you put the effort in, you get far. That's, you know, that's the way it is. And then you learn about Gara, who is just like, yeah, he was born super talented because he's just basically got a demon in him. So he doesn't have to even actually put any effort in. The demon just protects him. So you have this sort of almost ideal situation where it's like the hard effort versus natural talent fight. And
Not to
just
mention, one of the nicest guys versus a guy who literally murders without any hesitation.
Okay.
Hey, guys. For the record, Gara did put an effort. He put an effort in killing himself and failed.
I don't think that's what he meant.
I know.
I will say though that I do think that is an interesting dynamic to work on and use. The whole okay, you got the person with immense inherent talent versus the guy who's worked for it and does their thing. Counterpoint, you don't need a tournament arc to do that.
Honestly,
Yeah,
I think by that,
I think what Arnold's trying to get at is that a tournament arc can give a way to get a bunch of conflicting character personalities into a location to actually fight each other. It's one of the easier ways to do it, and yes, there would be better ways to pull it off. I don't know, maybe like during the, Invasion of Sand, there was no arc, and then Lee stands up against Gara or something. You can still do it. Just, it's easier.
may I add one thing? I gotta say, I actually appreciate that particular tournament arc, though for different reasons. I feel like what they did with Naruto well in this one was that they gave us a bunch of characters from different countries and used said tournament to introduce them and their personalities to kind of expand on the worldview right there. That was done well.
That was some decent enough world building, as well as hints of what's to come.
yeah.
Not bad for Shigure of the Rain Village.
Or like,
God, crushed to death with that.
actually, I think. Wait, no, never mind. Let's see. Another great tournament arc is in One Piece. It is both hated and loved depending on who you ask. But it's because the people that hate it don't understand it. And it's not even a normal tournament arc. It is the Davy Back Games.
The Davy.
The what?
Okay, the Davy. You know what? I'm gonna say it. The Davy back fight, in my opinion, was totally necessary for, for where it was in the story. You wanna know why? Because before that, they went through a heavy arc.
Yes. So I think to at least give context. So essentially, was it after Philip arc or was it before Philip arc?
No. The Davy back fight was after the Skypiea arc, where
Right. Yeah.
They literally just fought a guy who thought he was God, and he might as well have.
So again, the context here is basically this pirate crew, this very goofy pirate crew that are like you can't take seriously, show up and basically try to challenge the Straw Hats. And so they challenge them to these Davy Back games, which are just a series of, you know, like almost like athletics competitions. They're not even fights. Like, you know, it could be a race or whatever. Yeah. And
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
The thing about it.
Oh, go ahead. I'll let you.
Yeah, the thing about it is that it's like it is this massively after a heavy arc, it's just this nice like, okay, this is just some fun.
I mean, the stakes are still pretty high because the game. Okay, in the manga it's 3 rounds, but in the anime they actually added a few more games. But basically, every time you win, you get a member of the enemy crew, and they can't go back. They have to swear loyalty to the new captain, even if they don't like it.
What?
That sounds like bullshit.
Oh, no, that is the point. See, Davy, the Davy back fight is that way to get a new crew. It's a way to beat other pirates without killing them. And Foxy, he is a dirty, dirty cheater. Like, he is cheating so much. But Wile E. Coyote would be jealous.
But they're fucking pirates! Why would they agree to that sort of thing?
That is that's what they say. It's like, hey, you guys are cheating. It's like, what do you mean? I mean, we're pirates. So you should be able to handle this. And besides, the rep, who's totally part of our team, says it's okay.
Yeah.
And you know, the best part is that he is such a lovable, hateable asshole. He's got the slow fruit. He basically gets beams of light to slow things down. And he still gets affected by shit. Like, he demonstrated with, like, somebody shooting a cannon at him, and he slows down the cannonball. It's like, see, this is what I can do. And he forgets that he probably should stay out of the way. Boom!
Yeah.
The fight between him and Luffy is a thing of beauty. Because we get Afro Luffy, the best.
Yeah. Like, I can definitely understand where you come from, Andrew, when it comes to tournament arc. If they just basically put a bunch of characters together to slap them around, just be like, oh look, then that's usually bad writing. They usually have the best use of a tournament arc is to introduce characters. It's sort of like how in video games where it's like you introduce a concept in a safe environment, then you introduce the more dangerous versions.
Maybe you just had a couple of...
A good tournament arc will further the character stories. I think My Hero Academia does it best. Introducing characters, their motivation, and actually working to tell their story and actually improve upon it. I mean, hell, remember Mr. Hypnosis? Yeah, guess who shows up in the latest season?
Yeah, because like I think part of my issue is like sometimes it's overused because it's like it's one thing if you do use it properly. It's another thing if you use it like a crutch.
Yeah, that I will not deny.
Which, you know, I guess is kind of like how it is with many like tropes of TV and all that.
Yeah. That's why whenever somebody says, I hate tournament arcs, I don't argue, because, yeah, I hate tournament arcs when they are lazy.
You know, the funny thing... Like, funnily enough, because I just realized... as much as I don't like tournament arcs, one of my favorite anime it is actually one giant tournament arc, G Gundam.
I mean, Zoid's New Century is just one big giant tournament arc too.
I mean, I think it helps that with Gundam, it's like, okay, the stakes is whoever's like the big head honcho for, you know, basically the world government, and it's like part of the entire point of the series, and it's also tied into a whole other aspect of plot, but yeah. Also, giant ass robots based on national stereotypes.
Yes.
Wait, is that the one with the goddamn tequila box?
Yes, it is like, if you're wondering, is that the one with G Gundam? Yes, it is that one.
It is also the one with the kangaroo Gundam, yes.
The what?
If I was into mechas at all, I think I'd actually watch it. Because otherwise sounds pretty alright.
The only reason why I haven't gotten into Gundam is because it's one of those situations of, do I start with the one that I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like, or do I go for the beginning, and then it's, you know, figuring out where to find the stuff, which for the easiest way of viewing, and that's just my problem.
It kind of helps that with G Gundam, it's different from the other ones as well, in that it's not a serious war story, and that it's kind of more it is an insane shonen anime with heart and giant robots.
I suppose it's a question for you, Bron, as to how much resource that is known as time would you be willing to, you know, dedicate to something? Because the Gundam as a series overall was pretty big, right?
Yeah, G Gundam was back in the day when you get like a 50+ episode run.
That's true, yeah. And it definitely depends. But goddamn, that tequila bot. When I first saw that years ago, I laughed my ass off.
There is another version of that, like, I could probably also see you enjoying. It's one of those things where, you know, some people would probably say you don't want to start Gundam with that series because you need, like, you get the most out of that series by having previous knowledge, but at the same time, you don't need previous knowledge, and that is the Build Fighters series.
Oh yeah, the one where somebody is like, instead of sending flowers, you send a goddamn million yen worth of model kit.
Yeah, it is, so Build Fighters essentially, you know, people make their own, like, they make Gunplers, of course, and then they bring those Gunplers to life in these arenas and control them like they're actual Gundam.
So it's kind of like Angela Claire, but like with sentient robots?
No, it's not. They're not sentient. They're still controlling them, but they're like, when I say they bring them to life, I mean they bring them to life in a combat sense. Like they're live ammo.
Metaphor. Fair enough.
That spell was an entire... You know what? Here's what I'm thinking. Anime who devotes themselves to being one big giant tournament arc?
No, Zatchbell Zatchbell's not a tournament arc. Zatchbell is a battle royale.
You know what? That's fair, but still a tournament, they put it.
Or you know, another one that kind of works, even if I didn't see all the way to the end, because it kind of fits that, Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think that kind of helps because the entire premise is just ridiculous. And I think that kind of helps with it.
You know what I wish I could see? Political discourse in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I just feel like it's just, you're at the UN, a bunch of world leaders are arguing, and then one of them just pulls out a duel and is like, "That's it! I challenge you to a duel!"
Maybe all we need to do in order to fix always bad memories with tournament arcs is to get him into a battle royale game. Like, you know, I don't know, PUBG, Fortnite, whatever.
Or, hear me out, we respect his likes and dislikes.
Well, the thing is, I would say...
Just such a preposterous notion!
I would say, like, for me, the thing is, Battle Royale games are not exactly analogous to tournament arcs.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of like a Venn diagram kind of thing. They're kinda, but they're not.
Actually, hold on, guys. besides Mega Man Battle Network, which Bren brought up earlier on, what kind of other games can you bring up as a tournament? Maybe not counting stuff like Tekken, which is like all about it.
You know,
I was just about to say Tekken and Street Fighter.
Mortal Kombat.
But yeah.
Well, the
Yeah,
funny
like,
thing is, I
Cyber-
have enjoyed some fighting games like that, but I think for that, like, okay. I know I've enjoyed Soul Calibur, though that's not exactly a tournament arc. Like, I think it helps that
Okay,
for
just-
those, like, the entire point is that it's just fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, kind of like in how Mega Man Battle Network, you had a tournament incorporated, but it wasn't the only thing. What kind of other games do you know which do that? I'm asking really out of curiosity because
Yeah, I
honestly,
know. I do have some examples. I don't think anyone here has played them.
That's all the better.
I can't remember the exact name of it. I'm blanking on it at the moment. I think it's like Gunbot Chronicle, Steambot Chronicle? There. There's basically a PS2 game where sort of semi-open world where you basically have a mech and you can like do like side missions to get parts for your mech, but I believe it was kind of you're building up your mech for a tournament. And I think it was like something Chronicles.
You know, you said that, just realized regarding the bot part, Medabots also
Yeah.
had that.
Um,
But actually, let me ask, how, in that game that you just mentioned, Argo, how do they go about doing this tournament? How is it, implemented
I don't know.
plot-wise?
this is just like I haven't actually played this game myself. This is going off of my head because I remember hearing about it.
Okay.
You know, funnily enough,
It is
I do.
Steambot. Yep.
I do remember a game I actually really enjoyed as a teenager. That did feature a lot of tournament arcs. Custom Robo.
Custom Robo
Yeah.
was a game I recently emulated, and it's crazy.
Yeah, like I think that's one of those ones where it helps that it's such a ridiculous premise. Like, it eventually kind of gets weirdly serious, but it's one of those things where it's like, okay, we have a world where everything is determined by battling with basically little toy robots.
And
Yeah.
I love the fact that the game is self-aware enough, even early on, about how insane that is.
You know, since we're on this topic, just kind of asking if you would, and you're interested, found a manga where basically they do just that, except instead of robots, it's baseball. Just in case anyone wants to,
No. Baseball sucks.
Hey,
I mean, I don't like baseball myself, but the manga is okay.
hey, Andrew,
Mm-hmm.
you've been at this for an hour and 20 minutes. Were you planning to do a 2-hour stream or an hour?
Yeah, I did an 8-hour shift today, and so since I got the time, I'm doing this for 2.
Okay, I'm just checking to make sure you haven't gone overboard or not. I'm not bored, I'm just concerned.
There is, I am now actually kind of surprised. So, there is a game idea that I have.
An audio video.
Video game. Like, since I am learning how to design a game, well, make a game, I might actually make this. It's like, I've got so many damn ideas that it really ends up being like, which idea do I end up making as my first game will happen when I get to it. But, the idea is, it's a battle RPG. So, it's always it's a turn-based RPG, as you'd expect. Like, you have your classes and everything like that. Except the combat system isn't about, fighting directly. It's about, you have this sort of ball of magic that gets built up every time it is every time it is attacked. It's a volleyball battle RPG.
Eh?
So you build up a team, and it's like, okay, you serve. The serve will put a certain amount of damage into this energy sphere. The other team has to receive it. If it hits the ground, it does damage.
I'm just suddenly remembering. In Steven Universe, Steven was playing an RPG that was a golf.
Oh, but that already exists.
I know,
Yeah,
but you just made me think of that, and I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, we need more sports RPGs.
I think that sounds reasonable. I'll admit, I don't have the best history myself with GMs making RPs. My last Pathfinder GM basically just
What?
kinda got so much into...
Conrad.
This is unrelated, I know,
What?
but...
This is nothing to do with GMing. This is like an actual video game that I'm like thinking of making.
I think you missed my point, but...
Okay. I thought you missed my point. Never mind. So go ahead.
Well, now that you interrupted, I forgot where I was going with it.
I think we all missed.
I will say, on the note of making certain things more interesting through other methods, yeah, you just reminded me of an anime I remembered exists that I need to actually like watch all the way through at some point. Yakitate Japan.
Pokemon.
I don't know what that is.
That's the bread making one, isn't it?
Yes, it is basically a shonen battle anime, except it's about making bread.
Yeah.
By the makers of the food anime?
Nah, this came out before Food Wars.
Ah, fair enough.
Food Wars is really good until the last or the latest season. I'm not sure if it's the last season, but yeah, I highly recommend that. Haikyuu is the reason why I'm like, I want this volleyball RPG to exist. Because I did not think I would like volleyball until I watched Haikyuu. That show is hype from episode 1.
I'll take your word on it, but not my cup of tea, but...
See, that's exactly it. I was like, nah, this is not my cup of tea, but I'll at least watch the first episode.
I'm just not a fan of
Yeah.
sports in general.
No, friend,
The,
I'm there with you.
Stop.
see, I think that's how the sports anime has its way of doing with people. It's a common story, really.
Okay, I will take your word for it, but...
I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just saying. I get where you're coming from, so you don't need to defend what I'm just saying. Like, yes, I'm aware, but I was surprised.
Sorry. Sorry.
Did you think we were trying to get you into sports or something, friend?
To be honest, I don't know what you were thinking.
I was just being hype about a show that I really love.
I guess that's fair. I've been there.
So maybe changing topics. Argo, that anime group of yours that you mentioned that you barely ever had any any vetoes there. So what kind of shows did you guys choose? Because I think I remember you mentioning that Symphocare, but what aside that?
Okay, so when we first started, it was actually just meant to be like we were talking about we were just talking about magical girl anime one day, and so we were like, hey, there's this funny magical girl anime that I know of, so let's watch an episode, and then
Was it Madoka?
no, that's not funny.
You said funny, like,
But
I mean, Conrad, what do you consider funny?
No, I just thinking that Argo was presenting it in an ironic fashion, that it was leading up to this joke.
Oh.
plus I already knew Madoka. We already knew Madoka there, but anyway, so Fox put on the first episode of it was a Pretty Cure series, but this one was all about cooking, which is kind of very weird but funny.
It's kind of like Mario Racing is to the Mario series, right?
Guess I'm not sure. I'm gonna admit I don't know what you're like.
A funny spin-off,
I
basically.
guess, yeah. I mean, I suppose, but like Mario Kart's not exactly a funny spin-off since Mario's already kind of not serious anyway. But then Showa put on one that was Magical Boys, and it was full of a lot of sexual innuendo. So it's like, yeah, we had fun with the first episode, but then we came to realize, oh, the rest are probably just going to be this same joke repeated, so we don't need to continue after one episode. Huh?
Sexual innuendo.
Yeah. And I put on the first episode of, Kowa Zombie, or, is this a zombie?
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, we, after we all watched them, we're just like, hey, why don't we just, like, do this for, like, other anime? We each pick one, watch, and so, yeah, I went Symphogear, Fox went Bacano, or Bacano. I did the inflection wrong there.
I gotta say, smart move, Argo. You baited them in cleverly with a good show, and now they want more.
Don't be an asshole.
Huh?
Just because the article likes trash doesn't mean you can trash it.
Oh, I
Wait,
think Bren thought you were being sarcastic.
I wasn't like.
Yeah, no,
I watched that thing a long time ago, but I think I enjoyed it.
But yeah,
Like,
so it was.
Just saying, I don't know if I finished it. My memory is blurry, but please continue.
So yeah, Symphogear for me, Bacano for Fox, and I believe Showa. Alright, Showa had to be the shit poster, and he's like, yeah, we're gonna put on this anime, and he put on, Kamen Rider Gaim.
Was that?
It's
a
not an
live action
anime.
thing?
It's live action yet, no. It is totally an anime, like, it has all the anime kind of tropes. It just happens to be live action.
Yeah, no, we've all been there.
I thought that was a movie, not a series.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
funnily
like
enough, there
the
were a
one
few Kamen Rider movies, but no, Kamen Rider's mostly been like multiple series.
every Kamen Rider series has at least like maybe 2 or 3 movies, but they're usually like made for TV movies.
I'm just also recalling that, like, I know for like a period, like between certain eras, they did like a few direct-to-video style movies.
One of the movies in Gaim hints at a big war between the like the early the Heisei era Kamen Riders and the what's the other era?
Showa.
Showa era, yeah.
So, Argo, you mentioned 3 shows. So
Yeah.
that means there's only 3 people in your anime watching group?
Yeah.
Oh. Huh. Okay, for some reason I thought it was like twice the size.
Yeah. We do have we do have a fourth and a fifth member. The fourth member of the group is Gingy, a shower's cat. Just because we'll be watching anime sometimes and we all of a sudden hear purring. And
Are you describing a person to me, or...?
No, it's cat. I said show is cat. Showa is one of the viewers, but
Okay,
he's
I thought that was a nick, like Shola's cat.
no, Showa.
Okay.
And we also have another guy who he doesn't really watch the anime with us. He just shows up for his episodes, and he kind of shows up periodically because he tends to be asleep. But when he shows up, we watched through Spy X Family for you.
You don't have to focus yourself, but thanks, I guess.
And now we are watching it's like Roma Fome. It's like a Roman bathhouse anime isekai.
I think I had that somewhere. Okay.
Yeah, Fome or Roma
Okay.
or something like that. Yeah.
So you all actually picked quite the long-standing series, didn't you?
Yeah.
I guess that's a good fundamental of a stability in such a group.
We've only ever had one veto.
I know, I remember
Yeah.
that. It was Mindfox, right?
Yeah. And
What
it's just
exactly was it that he vetoed?
it was I think it's called like Iruma-kun Goes to Demon School or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like the first 3 episodes, the protagonist is like, he's a very boring protagonist, and the characters are all just kind of bad. And like as Fox said, it's one of those anime where you kind of have to get past like the first season before
That.
it changes things up, and it's like
Anyway, I'm tapping out. I'm getting a little exhausted.
Okay. See ya, Bran. So yeah, an entire season, that's asking for quite a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
most series don't get past that point.
It's one of those things where it's like, it just reminds me of how like there can be the feeling of yes, trust me, it's really good once you've seen all 5 seasons, you've read this side manga, and you've also read this guidebook that's only available in Japanese, but there's a translation online if you know where to find the link. Once you read that, and also, if you read the guidebook that's in the back of the Image theme song CD for this one character, then everything clicks together.
Yes, sure, that kind of shows. I mean, heck, even from a marketing perspective, that is just not a good move.
It's like I make fun of that because I know that like I enjoy some things that are, it's like, I know some people who've said that they can't get into like Xenoblade 2 because there's a whole lot of like tutorials and stuff through it, which I find bearable, but I know not a lot of people have the patience for it. Yeah.
Why don't they just skip the tutorials? I mean, old style games had tutorials be optional if present at all. Is it unplayable without it?
I mean, you kind of have to know how things work, and there are some things where it's like, it's nice to play with a complex system.
So you can't really figure that out on your own.
Yeah, or it's like, you need to make a few leaps of logic to intuit what some of the stuff means.
Yeah.
Oh, but before I end the stream, I did want to do one thing, which is going to try something. When I went to World Market this past weekend, I noticed something on the shelf that I have heard about repeatedly that is apparently just the bee's knees. Tim Tams.
You got Tim Tams!
Yes, I got Tim Tams.
Oh yeah!
And
What is that?
They're an Australian icon.
And I'm about to find out if everyone who I've heard about this stuff from Australia has lied to me all these years. So let's see. Slightly melted though. That's probably because of they were in my car for a bit. But yes.
Yeah, you were about to test your friendship.
It's just like Argyle. If I try these and I do not immediately orgasm, I'm going to call you a liar. And I did notice while I was there they had like a few other varieties. Like I guess this is the original
standard
flavor. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know because I noticed there were others that were like caramel and stuff. But it's like, you know what? I gotta see if the baseline Tim Tam is good.
Yep.
Looking at the pictures online, looks like some kind of brownie biscuits. Is that what it is?
Just a chocolate. It's a chocolate-coated biscuit.
The little tag on the packaging says, "Irresistible chocolatey happiness in a biscuit." I will be the judge of that.
Chocolate and biscuits are generally a good combo.
So.
I mean, it's hard to fuck that
And
up.
it's got like a chocolate cream on the inside as well.
So is that your standard Australian sweet fare, Argyle?
It is one of the iconics.
It's not bad.
So that doesn't mean an immediate friendship breakup, right?
No. Friendship is safe.
And because
So
yeah,
now-
it's nice because it's like it's chocolatey and crunchy, and there's not too much crunch to it. Just enough that it's very satisfying to bite into.
What you need to do is you have to try this later. You need to
What
do
now?
what is known as slamming it.
What is slamming in
So
this context?
basically, you get like say hot chocolate or coffee. Coffee works as well. Some people do it with tea. You bite off one corner, turn it around, bite off the opposite corner, and then use it as a straw.
Interesting.
You
So
can do that?
as you get, yeah,
Won't
as
it
like
melt?
the hot, yeah, no, that's part of the point. Like it's not gonna last more than like a sip. So as you use it as a straw, it's, you know, you getting all like the milk or the liquid, just warm liquid sort of coming up into it, melting it, turning into this gooey deliciousness.
I'll probably save that for winter or something, but still, that sounds like
Yeah.
that would be interesting to try. And also, yeah, I'm liking these. I think next time I go to World Market, I'll probably try another one of the flavor types because this is pretty good.
Like the double choc is really good, and I think my favorite was like I can't remember the exact name, but they're basically like a strawberry one.
I'll have to keep an eye out for that because I think I saw the double chocolate amongst the varieties they had.
Yeah, it's like a blue packet.
So yes, I recommend Tim Tams. That's a nice way to end this stream. I found something to wipe my hands off on because that started to melt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So since the Kirby stream, what kind of powers did you get from that chocolate?
Well, the thing is, Kirby doesn't usually actually get stuff from foodstuffs. He just
Oh,
gets
yeah, those-
satisfaction. Which
He
I
gets
have gained.
healing sometimes.
Mm-hmm. The healing power of chocolate.
Oh, it is apparently World Chocolate Day.
Today?
Yeah.
Well, I'm celebrating appropriately then.
I feel like I have become a heretic unknowingly because just a few hours ago I had something which looks like chocolate, but is actually imitation chocolate with a recipe coming from the previous century, from when we didn't have chocolate.
Wow. Well, and we'll call this a stream.
Yep.
Thank you dudes for hanging out.
No worries.